So just a few last minute Roman theater history facts for you on this last brief slide. When we talked about the Greeks, we talked about how the playwrights were such a big part of the productions. But with the Roman playwrights, they did not delve into being part of the productions. And what kind of happened was there wasn't this intimate connection between playwriting and performance that we found with the early Greeks. Another little tidbit is that, as we talked about with the Greeks, in ancient Greece, with comedy and tragedy, the performers wore masks. This was the same in ancient Rome. With comedy and tragedy performances, the performers wore masks. In tragedy, for the ancient Romans, the delivery of a performance was very slow, very stately, both vocally and physically. In comedy, the performance was much more conversational. The movement was much more lively. But as we talked about on the last slide, the growing popularity of mimes had an interesting impact on theater and plays in general, because mimes, we talked about how pantomimes wore masks, right? But mimes did not wear masks, and so their facial expression in their performances became really important. And because of this, as mime became super popular, the use of masks in any type of theater actually became way less popular because everyone was trying to compete with the mimes. The mimes didn't wear masks. The mimes were big into facial expression. So all types of theater started to drop the use of masks and focus on facial expression as well. So sometimes competition makes some very interesting impacts, right, on all types of theater. Mine was also improvised, so there was this really big required talent for inventing dialogue, inventing movement on the spot. And finally, as we've kind of been talking about this competitive nature of Roman entertainment, actors of Roman drama really had to compete with all these other popular theatrical entertainments like chariot racing and foot races and acrobatics and prize fighting, wrestling, fights between animals and people, gladiator type contests, and actors were competing with all that for audiences. And the necessity of holding an audience's attention in this type of culture and getting an audience to come to your event, your performance, really led to the coarsening of theater. It led people to make theater rougher, much more vile, have a lot more violence in it, have a lot more coarse, crude subject matter, language, actions on stage, etc. So that's what the Roman audiences wanted, and that's what the Roman actors and playwrights needed to provide in order to gain an audience. And there you have it, Roman theater history. Off you go to read Seneca's Medea, which is a lot shorter than Euripides' Medea. You'll see things that are very much the same, and you'll see things that are different. So off you go on that, and I'll see you on the discussion board and on our shared Google Doc this week. If you have any questions about that, shoot me an email, and I'm interested in seeing you work your way through all of that.